My mom looked me straight in the eye at Thanksgiving dinner and said, "Vacations for family without you." Then everyone laughed. Not the awkward kind. Not nervous chuckles. Real laughter. The kind that assumes agreement. A week later, I got a bank alert that made my blood run cold. $6,500 withdrawal attempt. What I did next flipped their perfect vacation upside down. My name is Hannah Pierce. I was 28 that Thanksgiving, a freelance graphic designer living in San Francisco. Successful enough to pay my bills. Flexible enough that my family always assumed I was available. Available to help. Available to cover things. Available to understand. People say I'm calm under pressure. I don't raise my voice. I don't slam doors. Chaos doesn't make me panic, it makes me focus. That's always been my role in the family. The steady one. The one who smoothed things over, paid the gap, absorbed the awkwardness so everyone else could stay comfortable. That Thanksgiving I showed up cautiously optimistic. I'd brought a homemade pecan pie, arrived early, helped my mom in the kitchen. I wanted normal. I wanted to believe we were past old tensions. I wanted for once to just be included. The table looked perfect. Golden turkey, matching place settings, laughter bouncing off the walls. For a moment I let myself relax. I thought maybe this year would be different. That illusion lasted exactly 20 minutes. The conversation drifted, as it always did, toward plans. My sister mentioned time off work. My dad talked about beaches. My mom smiled in that knowing way she gets when she's about to announce something already decided. "We booked the vacation," she said casually. 2 weeks in Maui. Smiled. "I can't wait for our vacation," I said. "I meant us." That's when she looked at me, direct, unblinking, and said, "Vacations for family without you." For half a second the room went silent. Then they laughed. Not one person questioned it. Not one person defended me. My sister snorted. My uncle shook his head like it was a joke I'd missed. My dad chuckled into his wine glass. My chest tightened so hard it felt like the air had been vacuumed out of the room. My hands went cold. But my face stayed still. Neutral. "Oh," I said quietly. "Okay." I stood up, picked up my coat, and wished everyone a happy Thanksgiving. No argument. No tears. No scene. I walked out while they were still smiling, still talking, already moving on. I sat in my car for a long moment afterward. Through the dining room window, I could see them laughing again, passing dishes, completely unbothered. As if excluding me hadn't been the point. But the entertainment, that's when it hit me. They didn't just exclude me. They enjoyed it. And suddenly years of memories snapped into focus. I wasn't the loved one. I was the useful one. The one who filled gaps, financial, emotional, logistical. Without ever being fully counted in, I thought about the small things I'd paid for. The last-minute bills. The shared expenses that quietly became my responsibility. The emergencies that always landed in my lap because, "You're good with money," or "You don't have kids yet." Those gaps never stayed small. Sitting alone in that car, the hurt didn't disappear, but it sharpened. Turned into clarity. I realized I'd been chasing approval from people who had already decided my place. Outside the circle, but close enough to fund it. I wasn't angry. Not yet that I was done explaining. Done proving. Done paying for a seat at a table they laughed about pulling away. That night I couldn't sleep till midnight. I opened my laptop and started reviewing old accounts. And that's when I found it. The joint checking account from college. One we'd kept just in case. My mom was still listed as a secondary holder. They called it the Family Emergency Fund. In reality it was their safety net. One I'd quietly replenished more than once. I transferred the balance to my personal account. Every dollar. Then I locked it down. New passwords, two-factor authentication, instant alerts for every transaction. So I worked, my phone buzzed non-stop. The family group chat was alive with vacation planning. Flights, resorts, smiling emojis. No mention of me. No apology. No hesitation. That I watched it all without responding. By the time I closed my laptop, my hands were steady. My decision was final. I was done paying for people who enjoyed excluding me. And they had no idea what was about to hit them next. While they were posting resort photos and talking about matching outfits, I was watching something else. My bank account. And what I discovered made every fake "miss you" voicemail from my mom feel like a calculated setup. The week after Thanksgiving, I disappeared into work. I took on extra design projects, stayed up past midnight refining logos no one would ever notice, let deadlines replace feelings. Work was quiet. Work didn't lie to me. Work didn't laugh when I was excluded. My phone, however, wouldn't stop buzzing. My mom, Linda, left voicemails every other day. Her tone was soft, syrupy. "Hey sweetheart, just checking in. Miss you. Love you so much." What she didn't say mattered more. She never mentioned Thanksgiving. Never apologized. Never explained. It was as if that moment at the dinner table had been wiped from history. Meanwhile, the family group chat stayed active. Chloe shared a color-coded itinerary with the caption, "Final schedule coming together." Tyler posted a mirror selfie wearing new sunglasses. Vacation vibes starting early, smiling face with sunglasses. My dad reacted to everything with his usual thumbs up emoji, and no one addressed my absence. No one asked how I was doing. Exclusion had been normalized, again. And I recognized the pattern with painful clarity. I'd spent years training them that I could be ignored as long as I was useful. Silent availability had become my role, so I waited. I didn't reply. I didn't confront anyone. I just kept one eye on my phone, and one eye on the old joint account. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon, exactly 1 week after Thanksgiving. I was on a video call with a client, discussing font revisions, when my phone vibrated on the desk. Once. Then again, I glanced down. Withdrawal request pending. $6,500. For a split second, my brain refused to process it. Then the number settled in, heavy and unmistakable. $6,500. Nearly the full remaining balance. The alert showed the request was initiated at a bank branch near my parents' neighborhood in Los Angeles. My heart started pounding, but my hand stayed steady. That calm people always comment on. This is when it kicks in. Panic wouldn't help me. Information would. I muted my mic, ended the call early, and immediately phoned the bank. The representative's voice shifted the moment I explained the situation. Careful. Measured. This wasn't uncommon. Family accounts always came with history. She paused, then said, "A secondary account holder is attempting the withdrawal." I swallowed. Who? Another pause. Linda Pierce. So it was legal. On paper. But it wasn't accidental. It wasn't confusion. It was entitlement. The bank rep explained the pending status. The entire week replayed in my mind, suddenly rearranged into something ugly and coherent. Chloe's constant, final confirmations. Tyler's jokes about upgrades and treating ourselves. My mom's barely contained excitement in her voicemails, like she was counting down to something. Even my dad's comment from the chat resurfaced. "This trip will be so good for all of us." All of us. Except me. The financial math lined up too cleanly to ignore. Tyler was between jobs again. Chloe's wedding expenses had been spiraling for months. And my parents, always promising more than they could comfortably afford. The $6,500 wasn't random. It was the final payment, a locked-in reservation. Suite upgrade. Snorkeling excursions. Private luau. All the perfect online extras that made a vacation look flawless on social media. They hadn't invited me, but they had budgeted me. If on cue, my phone buzzed again. The family group chat, Chloe wrote. "We're almost all set, just waiting on one last payment to go through." Seconds later, my mom replied with a smiley face. "Don't worry, I'm handling it right now." Handling it, with my money. My throat tightened. Heat rushing up my neck. Every instinct screamed to explode, to call them out, to demand an explanation. I didn't. Instead, I looked back at the bank rep on the line and asked the only question that mattered. "What's the fastest way to stop this today?" The bank rep told me the withdrawal could be declined if I closed the account immediately. I stared at the pending $6,500 request on my screen and said 5 words that changed everything. "Close it right now. Permanently." Her voice shifted. Still professional but sharper, like she knew this moment mattered. She explained the consequences clearly, methodically. All pending activity would stop. Every linked card would be deactivated. The secondary account holder would lose access instantly. I asked her to repeat it. Not because I didn't understand, but because I needed to hear it out loud. She ran through security questions. Mother's maiden name. Last transaction amount. My voice stayed even. I answered without hesitation. Then I heard it. The soft clicking of keys on her keyboard. Rapid. Final IT sounded like a door locking. A second later my phone buzzed. Withdrawal declined. Request cancelled. That I exhaled for the first time in days. Not relief like escaping danger, but relief like stepping out of a role I'd been forced to play for years. The safety net. The silent fixer. The financial buffer everyone leaned on without asking. The rep confirmed the closure was complete. There is no access to this account anymore, she said. And just like that, I was free. My phone immediately started vibrating like it was possessed. Linda. Taylor. Chloe. Again. And again. And again. IT was so synchronized it felt like an alarm had gone off, one they'd all been waiting for. I didn't answer. Instead, I took a screenshot of the bank notification. Clear. Timestamp. Undeniable. Then I opened the family group chat. I sent the screenshot. Below it, I typed 3 words. Pay without me. That was it.no explanation. No defense. No emotion. The chat went silent. For exactly 12 seconds. Then the typing bubbles appeared, flickering on and off like warning lights. Chloe broke first. Hannah, what is wrong with you? Tyler followed. Are you serious right now? Then my dad. Pick up the phone. Finally my mom. Call me now. Nah, please. Nah, can we talk? An order. For a split second the old instinct surged. The urge to explain. To smooth things over. To justify myself so everyone could go back to pretending nothing happened. Then I remembered her voice at Thanksgiving Day vacations for family without you. And the laughter. I set my phone face down. I finished my work. I exported client files. Sent emails. Closed tabs. Did everything I would have done if my world wasn't imploding because their crisis didn't get to derail my life anymore. Only after I was done did I pick up my phone again. There were 13 voicemails. They stacked up like bricks. The first was Linda crying, loud, theatrical. Her voice cracked at all the right moments. I don't understand why you're doing this to us. The next one wasn't crying. IT was furious. She accused me of humiliating her. Of embarrassing the family. Of making a scene by forcing them to deal with consequences in real time. Then the tone changed again. Soft. Wheat. Controlled. We can fix this, she said. It was just a temporary loan. Family helps family. Not once did she mention excluding me. Not once did she apologize. The pattern was so familiar I didn't need to listen to every second. I knew it by heart. Understanding the cycle was enough. I went into protection mode the way I approached work projects. Systematic and thorough. I updated every autopay connection. Moved savings into a solo account. Turned on 2-factor authentication everywhere. I froze my credit. Not because they were criminals, but because desperation makes people do things they never thought they would. I backed up every screenshot to email and cloud storage. Then I grabbed my jacket and left the apartment. I walked through Golden Gate Park as the sky dimmed, the city humming around me. Joggers passed. Dogs barked. Life continued. Unaware of my family's meltdown halfway through the park, I did something that would have been unthinkable a week ago. I opened a travel app and booked my own trip. Same week as theirs. Somewhere I wouldn't have to watch my back. Then I sent one final message to the group chat. I thought closing the account would be the end. Then I got a text that made my stomach drop. We're coming to talk in person. You can't ignore us forever. They showed up at my door that night. And what they said through that door told me everything I needed to know about who they really were. The morning after the account closure, my phone looked like a crime scene. 37 missed calls. Stacked voicemails. A wall of texts scrolling back farther than my screen could show. It followed the same cycle I'd seen my whole life. Shock, tears, anger, blame, then guilt. I tried to keep a normal work routine. Coffee, laptop, deadlines. But the calls never stopped. They rotated like shifts. Dad, Mom, Chloe, Tyler. taking turns pounding on my phone the way they'd always done emotionally. I checked the family group chat because written words mattered now. My mom had sent a late-night message. "This is a huge misunderstanding. We were going to pay you back. You're being dramatic." My dad followed. "You embarrassed your mother. You're being selfish and petty over a joke." Tyler jumped in. "Everything's already booked. Do you know how much money we're going to lose?" Then Chloe. "This is ruining everything. Just unlock it and we'll talk later." There wasn't a single apology in the entire thread. Just demands. Just pressure. Just expectation to be why midday. Guilt tactics turned to rage. My dad texted, "Don't expect us to be there for you when you need us." The irony of that statement almost made me laugh. Then my mom left another voicemail. Voice trembling, carefully broken. "You're breaking my heart." Then Chloe sent the message that changed everything. "We're coming to talk in person." Tyler replied beneath it. "She needs to understand." My dad ended it. "We'll be there tonight." For about 10 seconds, the old fear surfaced. The memory of being outnumbered, cornered, talked over until I gave in just to make it stop. Then the fear burned off, and resolve took its place. I replied once. "Do not come to my apartment. If you show up, I will not open the door." After that, I went to the hardware store and bought a door camera. Not because I was paranoid, but because documentation mattered now. I installed it before sunset. 10:04 p.m. My phone pinged. Motion detected. I opened the live feed. All 4 of them stood outside my door. My mom looked perfect. Hair done, soft jacket, victim expression already in place. My dad stood with his arms crossed like a security guard. Tyler paced, phone in hand, jaw tight. Chloe looked irritated, like this whole thing was an inconvenience. The knocking started polite, then louder, then sharp. "We need to talk," my mom said. "Stop acting like a child," my dad added. Tyler muttered something under his breath. Chloe rolled her eyes. Then my mom switched strategies. Her voice softened. "We're worried about you." I felt nauseous listening to it through the door. My dad leaned closer. "You're making a huge mistake. You're tearing this family apart." "Over nothing," Tyler snapped. "You're so dramatic," Chloe said flatly. 10 minutes passed. Please turned into threats. Threats into insults. A door down the hall opened. Instantly, my mom's tone changed. Bright. Polite. "Oh yes, sorry, family issue." My dad looked embarrassed. Tyler suddenly stopped pacing. Chloe checked her phone. They turned to leave. My mom leaned close to my door and said quietly, almost gently, "Don't expect to be part of this family again." Then they left. I stood there in complete calm. Because they'd finally said the truth out loud. Family to them meant obedience, not love. The next morning my friend Marisol texted me. "Hey, have you seen your mom's Facebook?" I hadn't. I didn't need to. It was a vague victim post. No names. Plenty of implication. Parents sacrifice everything. Gratitude is disappearing. Pride destroys families. The comments poured in. Validation. Sympathy. Distant relatives chiming in. Every instinct screamed to defend myself. Instead, I gathered evidence. I created a digital folder. Organized screenshots. Built a timeline. Saved bank alerts. Archived voicemails. Then I consulted a lawyer. Cease and desist letter was drafted. Clear and unemotional. No third-party contact. No visits to my residence. No attempts to access financial accounts. Noticed that harassment was being documented. IT was sent certified mail and by email. I also called the non-emergency police line, not to escalate, but to establish a paper trail. And then my phone buzzed with messages from numbers I didn't recognize. My mom had recruited an army. But I had something better than an army. I had receipts. While I was building my new life, my family was imploding. The vacation they tried to steal from me. It never happened. And the way it fell apart was more perfect than anything I could have planned. The messages started coming from numbers I didn't recognize. Different senders. Same script. An aunt texted, "Your mother is devastated." A cousin wrote, "You only have one family." A family friend said, "Linda says you're going through something." Every message was designed to pull me into debate. To make me explain. To soften my boundaries so they could be crossed again, I blocked each number without responding. The only person I replied to was Marisol. One sentence. Factual. Calm. Then I did something deliberate. I sent a single message to a small group of trusted relatives. No commentary. No emotion. 3 screenshots attached. The bank alert, the group chat message, the withdrawal attempt, below them one sentence. Here is what happened. I am setting boundaries. Within an hour, the tone shifted. Private apologies came in quietly. People who mattered understood immediately. One relative warned me that my mom was telling people the money had only been taken for safekeeping. The absurdity of that spin was almost impressive. When manipulation failed, rage followed. My mom left a new voicemail. No tears this time. She was furious about the lawyer. Furious about being humiliated. Furious that I'd destroyed my father. She called me ungrateful again, like it was a curse she could still make stick. Then her voice dropped. You know we have your information, she said. Don't make this worse. It wasn't explicit. It didn't need to be. I forwarded the voicemail to my lawyer and tightened everything. Credit frozen with all 3 bureaus. Every password changed. 2-factor authentication everywhere. New bank verification protocols. Building manager notified. No access without written permission. IT wasn't extreme. IT was what you do when people treat boundaries like insults. And then, something unexpected happened. My life got bigger. I landed a full rebrand project with a new client. The kind that made me excited to wake up early. On Saturdays, I wandered an art market and actually talked to other designers instead of rushing home to be available. I signed up for a community cooking class. I realized how much energy I'd been saving for family emergencies that never ended. Energy I could finally spend on myself. That's where I met Jordan. No dramatic spark. No perfect timing. Just easy conversation and genuine interest. Normal. Simple. Good. Before I rationed my life around them. After I invested it in me. Meanwhile, my family turned on each other. Without me to bully, they reverted to pattern. Chloe blamed Tyler for not having money. Tyler blamed my dad for promising what he couldn't afford. My dad blamed my mom for the Thanksgiving comment. My mom blamed me for everything. Consequences are always someone else's fault in their world. I didn't need details to feel the shift. The tantrum lost momentum. Threats stopped working without reaction. Silence is powerful when you mean it. Then the confirmation email hit my inbox. Lake Tahoe. And I finally understood something that unlocked everything. They didn't miss me. They missed what they could take from me. The week of their trip arrived, and the posting slowed. The countdown energy disappeared. A distant aunt messaged me quietly. They canceled the trip. I felt balanced. The universe didn't punish them. It just made them pay their own bill. Through the grapevine, I learned what happened. They lost deposits. The resort kept part of the booking. It was too close to the date. Flight change fees stacked up. The tours were non-refundable. The numbers didn't matter. What mattered was this. They'd planned a lifestyle they couldn't afford and counted on my silence to make it work. That silence ended. The best part wasn't the money loss. It was the illusion loss. They could no longer treat me like nothing while collecting from me. 2 days after the cancellation, my dad emailed me, not a text. Not a call. An email, controlled. Careful. He apologized for how Thanksgiving was handled. Said he should have stopped the joke. Should have called me afterward. Admitted things got out of control. He didn't blame my mom. But the subtext was there. He sounded tired. Embarrassed. Like someone who wanted repair without standing up to the person who broke it. I read it twice. Then I didn't reply. Apologies after consequences aren't always remorse. Sometimes they're just discomfort looking for relief. And I wasn't responsible for easing theirs anymore. While they dealt with fees and blame and the silence of a trip that never happened, I drove to Lake Tahoe, alone. And for the first time in years, I understood what peace actually felt like. Standing by that frozen lake, watching the sunrise alone, I finally understood something that changed everything. I wasn't the glue holding my family together. I was the cushion making their bad choices feel softer. And the moment I removed myself, They had to feel the full impact of their own behavior. I took the trip during the same week their vacation was supposed to happen. I didn't post about it. Not a single photo. This wasn't for revenge or comparison. It was for my nervous system. For the part of me that had lived in constant alert, waiting for the next demand disguised as love. The first morning, the air was so cold it burned my lungs. The lake lay flat and still, like glass beneath a pale sky. Snow crunched under my boots as I walked with a paper cup of coffee warming my hands. There was no shouting, no guilt, no group chat lighting up my phone, no rehearsing what I was allowed to say. Just quiet. Just presence. That's when it clicked. I had confused peace with abandonment for years. I believed that if I wasn't holding my family together, I was failing. That love meant absorbing discomfort so everyone else could stay comfortable. But I wasn't the glue, I was the cushion. I softened consequences. I buffered bad behavior. I made irresponsible choices feel manageable by stepping in before anyone had to feel the weight of them. And here's the part no one talks about enough. Boundaries don't just protect you. They expose what others were depending on you to tolerate. When you stop tolerating it, you get called selfish, dramatic, cold. Not because you changed, but because the arrangement did. You stop being easy to use. When I returned to San Francisco, my life wasn't perfect. IT was honest. My money stayed mine. My time stayed mine. My peace stayed mine. The protections remained in place. The credit freeze, the lawyer's letter, the door camera. Not because I was afraid, but because I had learned. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're clarity. I finally understood something else too. Love without respect is just control with a softer name. Family shouldn't require you to be smaller so everyone else can feel bigger. So if you've ever been told you're not really family, unless you're paying, unless you're obeying, unless you're staying quiet, hear me clearly, that's not love asking. That's access demanding. You are not cruel for protecting yourself. You are not ungrateful for saying no. You are not dramatic for refusing to be drained. Here's the lesson that changed everything for me. Access is earned. Even for parents. Especially for parents. Money is not love. Silence is not consent. And the moment someone laughs while pushing you out, the moment exclusion becomes entertainment. You are allowed to close the door behind you. You are allowed to choose a life where you are not the punchline. Where your generosity isn't assumed. Where your presence isn't conditional. Boundaries don't destroy families. They reveal them. In the end, my mom got exactly what she asked for, a vacation without me. For the first time in my life that included my wallet. My energy. My future. There was no screaming revenge. No public takedown. No victory speech. Just consequences. They asked for exclusion, and they received complete exclusion. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. I walked away with my dignity intact. My finances protected. My life rebuilt on my terms. And the most powerful part, I didn't lose a family. I lost the illusion that sacrificing myself was the price of belonging. And that freedom, quiet, steady and unshakable, was worth everything.